Morning, Act Web. Today's Reflect and Connect is on the Lofdahl and Zabanal article, and it's about how to incorporate technology into the orchestra room. They mentioned that technology is often used in general music, but this is how to add technology into orchestra. And they stressed that technology should be viewed as a tool to complete classroom objectives rather than an extra item that is like forced upon the teacher. So if technology can help you, use it, but don't redo your whole teaching approach just to use technology. You should set up the classroom and take an inventory of what technology you have. Stuff like Bluetooth speakers, maybe laptops or iPads, projectors, smartboards, stuff of that note. So that way you can know how to set up the classroom. If you have laptops, tablets, or students bring their own devices, you should have a clear list of expectations for using those tablets or devices. Page 2, they give a table with some example technologies that you can use. As you keep reading, they suggest having like a Google slide that you can copy and paste for each day. This is very similar to what we do in the class for our teachings, where we have a Google slide. They also suggest using something like Class Dojo, or maybe like a spinner wheel is something I thought of because that's what we do in class, to call on students. And this is a way to make sure that students always feel engaged because they don't know who's going to get called on. I think this is a good way to switch it up. I think if I was starting off the year, I don't know if I'd want to use this personally because I would like to call on students, but maybe one day using like a dojo or a spinner wheel to call on students would be a fun way of varying things. For the lesson plan, in terms of getting students tuned, there's some tuning applications, or you can record a tuning routine using GarageBand or Audacity. While I think this is good, I feel like having a physical tuning routine rather than a recorded one would be better. Like the article, or Zabanal and Lofdahl stressed that you should have students learn by ear how to tune. So I think just doing this, there's a couple ways to mess around with this, but there's room for incorporating technology. There also are things from GarageBand for a beat sequencer for different beats. And Sight Reading Factory and other things allow students to experiment with sight reading. One thing that I thought was cool was the exit slip. And I think this would be a good way of incorporating students' technology. I feel like all of them have phones by now. So you could say, fill out this Google form before you leave class, and it could get input on how they thought rehearsal went, what piece they think they should do, if there's anything they think they should add to a piece. A good way to maybe get some student-centered learning in, get some input from them. I know Mr. Safford said that he has a Google form that he sometimes sends out for feedback on pieces, so that's sort of similar. And for assessment practices, technology can be useful because You can record video or audio of a performance. Um, and this is just a good way of keeping a record of musical performances. They mention that unlike a standard pencil and paper assessment, music performance vanishes into thin air once it's completed, and you can't evaluate future achievement without an initial recording to establish a baseline. So if you're able to record progress checks, it could be a good way of seeing how a student learns over the course of a semester or a year. You can also use audio to record a run through of a piece, and this is good to listen back to a recording. I think this would be good to kind of have where you rehearse in class, but if you have time is a big factor. You can go back and listen to the rehearsal, and then you can objectively hear what is in tune and what's not, and then you can make a note of it. Because as we all know in class, sometimes we don't get a chance to, we don't notice things that are out of tune because we're looking at the score or we're caught up with stuff. But listening back to a recording is a good way to avoid that. And to finish up, technology can be confusing and difficult to incorporate, but the whole point is to have it aid your teaching, not get in the way. So having a goal and understanding what technology you can use and a way to implement it in a way that will make life easier should be something to shoot for. And I feel like we've been doing that in class, and there'll just be more ways that we'll learn to incorporate it as we become teachers.